Hi, welcome back to Kino Recaps. Today I'm going to explain a 2008 black comedy gangster film called In Bruges. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie opens in the classic medieval city of Bruges, in Belgium. Our hero, Ray, explains that he carried out the hit, threw his gun in the Thames, and washed his hands in a Burger King. He was then ordered to leave London and head to Bruges to lay low. Cut to Ray and Ken, who have just arrived in Bruges, arguing over whether it's a nice place or not. Ken likes it, but Ray thinks otherwise. Ken asks about rooms at a local hotel, and is told one room has been booked. Ray is not happy. The owner, Marie, explains everywhere is fully booked, because it's Christmas. Up in the room, Ray explains he can't stay for 2 weeks in a single room with Ken. He escapes to the bathroom where he has a mild panic attack. Later, the duo go for a tour of the Bruges canals. Ken is delighted, but Ray is less than happy. Ken explains that Bruges is the best preserved medieval town in Belgium, but Ray is not impressed. Later in the city square, Ken decides to climb to the top of the bell tower to see the view. At the top, Ken looks around and decides he likes Bruges. Downstairs, 3 large American tourists approach Ray. They ask if he's been up the tower and he says it's rubbish. He warns them against going, and says it's really narrow with winding stairs. When pushed, Ray tells the trio they won't make it up because they're elephants. The large male briefly chases Ray until he's exhausted and gives up. Ken approaches and asks what's wrong, but Ray plays dumb. Ken helpfully advises the tourists not to go up, because it's narrow and winding. One of the females abuses him. Ken looks at Ray, but he just shrugs and says Americans. Later, they stop at the pub for a drink and Ray lights up. Ken says it's very strange that they were told to lay low in Bruges of all places. He wonders whether they might be on a job. It takes Ray a while, but he gets the point. Later that night, Ray tries to convince Ken to do something, but he won't. He gets an idea and tells Ken the buildings will look better at night, and out they go. Outside they take in the classic medieval buildings. Ray spots a film crew, and a dwarf, and runs to take a look. He's fascinated, and refuses to leave. Then he spots Chloe, and tells Ken to leave him alone. Ray follows Chloe to the snacks table and starts an awkward conversation. He asks why they're filming midgets. Brilliant. When she explains the film, all he can do is compliment her English, and she turns to leave. He tells her a lot of midgets tend to kill themselves, which catches her attention. He then lists a few he knows of, and speculates as to why. He says he hopes her midget doesn't, as it would ruin the film, which makes her laugh. Chloe explains her midget prefers to be called a dwarf. They introduce themselves, and Chloe asks Ray what he does. He says he'll tell her at dinner the following night. Chloe laughs and walks off. Ray thinks he's blown it, but she drops her card as she leaves. Ray gives the dwarf, Jimmy, an encouraging 2 thumbs up as he makes his way back to the hotel. Back at the hotel, Marie gives Ken a message from their boss, Harry. Harry is not happy that he had to leave a message, and tells them to be in tomorrow night when he calls. Later, Ray gets home while Ken is in bed, and he's not happy. As Ray brushes, he tells Ken he's had 6 pints and 7 bottles, and he's not even drunk. He tells Ken that he's got a date with a girl, who's doing a film about a midget. The next morning, Ken apologizes to Marie for Harry's fruity message, and explains he's a bit different. Ray comes down to breakfast and Ken gives him Harry's note. He says they'll be staying in that night. Ray suggests that only one of them needs to stay in, given he has a date. Ken agrees if Ray agrees to stay out of trouble, and do what he wants to do all day. Ray reluctantly agrees. Later, the duo are in an ancient church, where Ken is taking in the culture. Aboard, Ray is making a racket with a pew. Ken beckons him, and he literally shuffles his way over. He explains that the church is famous for possessing a vial containing Jesus' blood, brought back from the Crusades. Ray is not impressed, and goes outside to wait. Outside, Ray spots Jimmy, and waves hello. Jimmy appears to see him, but snubs him, and Ray decides he doesn't like him. He spots a family with small children and recalls his latest job. He sits in confession and admits to a priest that he is going to kill him for money. He shoots the priest twice through the confessional and a number of times as he tries to escape. He sees with horror that he accidentally fatally shot a young boy that was behind the priest, and falls to his knees. His partner Ken comes and grabs him, and they escape. Later, the pair are in an art gallery, looking at macabre medieval paintings. Both of them find it unsettling. They pause in front of the Last Judgment. Ray says he likes it, and asks Ken what it's about. He explains it's about judgment and being held accountable for one's sins. Ray asks if Ken believes in heaven and hell, and being judged, to which he hesitates. Later, as they sit on a bench, Ken says he doesn't really know. He says he tries to lead a decent life, as much as he can, but that he has killed a number of people. Most of them were bad, but one was just a lollipop man trying to protect his brother. The lollipop man had come at him with a bottle, so he didn't have a choice. The 2 men get off track trying to decide if killing a bare-handed 50-year-old lollipop man who knows karate would also be justified. Ray gets frustrated and loses his temper, and Ken says he knows what Ray is trying to talk about. Ray says that because of him, and the choices he made, A little boy is gone, and will never be here again. As in, here in the world, not in Belgium. Although he may have decided to visit Belgium when he'd gotten older, Ray says he will always have done that, and that will never go away, unless he goes away. Ken tells him not to think like that. Later, Ray tries to get ready for his date, but can't stop thinking about what he's done. Ken tells him he looks good and he heads out. At dinner, Chloe asks Ray what he does. He tells her honestly that he shoots people for money. Chloe, in turn, admits she sells drugs to Belgian film crews. Ray tells her he saw Jimmy earlier, and that he snubbed him. She says it's to be expected as he's on a lot of ketamine, that she sold him. Ray tells Chloe she can't be selling ketamine to a midget. Chloe blows cigarette smoke at an American couple at the next table. Ray says Bruges is a terrible town. Turns out, it's Chloe's hometown. Ray says even midgets have to take drugs to stick it. Chloe gets up to go to the bathroom. While she's away, Ray gets into an argument with the American about Chloe's cigarette smoke. Ray brings up Vietnam, which the American claims is irrelevant. Ray is embarrassed, and hits the American to shut him up. His partner comes at him with a bottle. He has no choice but to hit her. Chloe returns and they leave. Outside he tries to explain that he had no choice but to hit the woman, as she had a bottle, and possibly knew karate. He's worried she's gone off him, because he hit a woman, but she gives him a kiss. Back at the hotel, Harry gives Ken a phone call. Harry asks Ken if he's enjoying Bruges, and he says he is, immensely. Harry tells Ken that Ray shot a little boy and has to be taken care of. Ken is shaken, but agrees to do his job. Harry gives Ken an address where he can collect a gun, and tells him to call him back, after it's done. Across town, Chloe and Ray are fooling around at her place. The fun stops abruptly when a guy puts a gun to the back of Ray's head. Eric stands Ray up and asks him if he thinks it's okay to fool around with another guy's girlfriend. Ray says he hadn't done the deed, and that he'd only put his hand on it. Eric tells Ray to get down on his knees and open his mouth. Ray headbutts him and takes his gun. Ray complains that skinheads used to be tough, but it now appears they've all become gay. Eric stands up and pulls a knife. Chloe tells Ray there's only blanks in the gun. Eric comes at Ray, so he shoots a blank in his face. Ray asks Chloe what's going on. Chloe admits they sometimes rob tourists together. Ray says he knew it was too good to be true. Chloe assures him she told Eric not to come that night. Eric insists he needs to go to hospital, and Ray tells him not to be a big gay baby. Ray says he knew someone nice like Chloe could never like someone like him. Chloe kisses him and tells him to call her. When she leaves, Ray pockets the gun, and has a look around. He finds a stash of drugs, which he takes. He also finds live rounds for the gun, which he also pockets. Back at the hotel, Ken is drowning his sorrows. Jimmy comes in with an attractive working girl, and the two men chat. Ken is impressed, and compliments Jimmy on his taste. Ray enters energetically and asks for a gay beer. He tells Ken enthusiastically about his night, and Ken asks for some coke. He disappears to the bathroom and Ray spies Jimmy. Being very energetic, he goes and pokes Jimmy in the head. He asks why he snubbed him earlier and Jimmy explains about the ketamine. Ray asks them if they want some coke, just as Ken returns. He says he also has acid and ease. Shortly after, they're in a hotel, having a party. Ray is rattling off a list of dwarves he thinks have committed suicide, to Jimmy. Jimmy reacts as expected. Ray asks him if he'd ever think about it. Again, Jimmy reacts as expected and walks off. Ray tells Ken this is the kind of hotel Harry should have put them in, and asks if he's called. Ken tells him he hasn't. Later, as the party winds down, Jimmy is talking a load of rubbish about race wars. Turns out Ken was married to a black woman that was murdered by a white man. Harry took care of the murderer for Ken. Ken abruptly decides to leave, and Ray follows him out, karate chopping Jimmy on the way out, for good measure. The next morning, Ken leaves Ray sleeping and heads out to pick up the gun. Ray wakes, and lies worrying and chewing his nails. Ken arrives at the supplier's house, and after a brief exchange, goes inside. The supplier shows him the gun, and he inspects it. Ken pauses, and the supplier asks him if he's going to do it. Ken replies of course he's going to do it, it's what he does. Back at the hotel, Marie tells Ken that Ray was acting a bit weird, and appeared to give her all the money he had. She tells him that Ray headed to the park. Ken spots Ray sitting on a bench, and watches him from a distance. Ray is sitting in a suit, looking troubled. Ken prepares the gun, apologizes under his breath, and sets out for the bench. As he approaches, Ray pulls out his gun and puts it to his head. Shocked, Ken calls his name. Ray jumps up and spins around. Ken asks him what he's doing. Ray sees the gun in Ken's hand and asks him what he's doing. Defensive, Ken says nothing, and hides his gun. Ray says he was going to kill him. Ken denies it, and says Ray was going to kill himself. Ray asks why is it okay for Ken to kill him, but not for him to kill himself. Ken asks if they can go somewhere and talk about it. As they sit in the playground, Ken says he wasn't going to do it. Ray says it sure looked like he was going to. Ray asks to see his gun. He checks it out and is impressed. He shows Ken his, and complains that it's a girl's gun. Ken takes his gun and refuses to give it back, saying Ray is a suicide case. Ray counters that Ken is trying to shoot him in the head. Ken says he's going to give Ray some money and put him on a train somewhere. Ray breaks down and says he wants to end it, and that he's responsible for a boy's death. Ken tells him to do something good with his life, and to save the next little boy. He says he's no good to anyone dead. Later, Ken sees Ray off at the train station. Ray asks what he's going to do. Ken tells him to wait at least a few years before coming back home. Ray asks Ken if Harry will be mad. Ken says he'll take care of Harry. As the train departs, Ken calls Harry. He tells him Ray is on the train, alive and well. He says if Harry is not happy with that, he can find him in Bruges. Harry does not take the news well, and destroys his phone. Later, Harry explains to his children that he has to go to Bruges for a few days. He says goodbye to his wife, and heads out. Back in Bruges, Ken straightens his suit and prepares himself. He puts Ray's gun in the top drawer of the dresser, leaves a note, and heads out. Meanwhile, Ray is looking dejectedly out the window of his train. The train comes to an unexpected stop, in the middle of nowhere. He looks down the aisle and sees a policeman coming through the train. The policeman stops at his seat and asks him if he's Irish. He asks if he hit the Canadian, which Ray doesn't understand. The policeman prompts him to look down the aisle, where the Canadian from the restaurant confirms Ray is the one that hit him. He gets arrested and returned to Bruges. Meanwhile, Harry has arrived in Bruges. He looks happy. He goes directly to his supplier to pick up a gun. Turns out Eric is there as well. Harry picks out a gun and some bullets. Eric and Harry have a brief exchange where Harry tells him it's his fault that Ray stitched him up. Harry makes his way downtown, where he runs into Ken, drinking a gay beer. Ken bids him sit, which he does, and then demands an explanation. Ken explains that Ray is suicidal about what happened, but Harry doesn't care. Harry explains that if he had killed a boy he would have killed himself on the spot. Harry asks where Ray is now. Across town, Ray is being released. Chloe is there to meet him. Ray tells Chloe he'll get her money back to her soon, and her drugs, just as they're walking past the front desk. Back in town, Harry asks Ken if he has his gun on him. Ken says it's a bit crowded there, and the men decide to go up to the bell tower. Ken pays the bill, and they leave. Near the bell tower, Ray and Chloe are going for a walk. Ray says he is court in a few days, and Chloe asks him if he'll stay, and they kiss, just as Ken and Harry walk past. Upon entering, Ken and Harry are told by the clerk that the tower is closed for the evening. Harry tries to bribe him, but the clerk throws his money back at him and pokes him in the head. Big mistake. Harry makes short work of him, before cordoning off the entrance. A passing Eric sees him doing this. In the square, Ray and Chloe run into Jimmy, dressed as a schoolboy. Ray apologizes for the karate chop, but the pair can't stop laughing. Jimmy is not happy, and insists the uniform is for the movie. Up in the bell tower, Ken says it is a beautiful town, and he's glad he got to see it before he died. He reaches for his gun, and puts it on the stonework. Harry asks him what he's doing, and Ken explains he's not going to fight him. He explains that he's completely in Harry's debt and respects his integrity and honor. Harry is shocked. Ken explains that Ray had to be let go, because he had a chance to change his life. He says he won't fight Harry, and accepts whatever he has to do. Harry says he can't shoot him now, after all he's said, but he suddenly shoots him in the leg. As Ken screams, Harry explains he couldn't just do nothing. Down in the square, Jimmy invites Ray and Chloe to the film set, but Chloe says they'll probably have a quiet night in. They say their goodbyes and Jimmy leaves. Eric spots them in the square, and they gesture awkwardly. Then Eric runs off to the bell tower. Harry is helping Ken down the narrow stairs, when Eric calls up to them. He tells Harry that Ray is downstairs, and Harry and Ken go for their guns. Harry overpowers Ken and shoots him in the neck. He apologizes, but explains that you can't shoot a kid and then expect to get away with it. Word. After he's gone, Ken manages to pick up his gun, and crawls back up the stairs. Harry races down the stairs, while Ray and Chloe kiss in the square below. Unfortunately, when Ken reaches the lookout, everything is covered in mist. Ray and Chloe kiss, as Harry continues down the stairs. Above, Ken readies himself, drops some coins below to clear the way and steps out of the bell tower. Ray sees the body, and races over. He can't believe it's Ken. Ken tells him Harry is there, and tells him to take his gun. Ray finds the gun, but it's broken. He asks Ken where his gun is, but Ken passes away. Just then, Harry reaches the bottom, and seeing Ken, and then Ray, fires. Ray races away, with Harry in pursuit. Ray leads Harry through Bruges streets, with Harry taking shots at him as they go. Ray eventually manages to put some distance between them. He arrives at the hotel, demands the key to his room, and tells Marie to go home right away. Upstairs in their room, Ray finds his gun in the drawer, and sees Ken's note, his last will and testament. Just then, he hears Marie and Harry arguing downstairs. Marie refuses to let Harry upstairs. Ray tries to get a clear shot of Harry, but won't risk hitting Marie or her baby. Ray proposes he go back to his room, jump out the window, and into the canal and try to escape, and Harry can try to shoot him from the bank. Harry agrees. Ray says go, runs to his room, and jumps onto a passing boat, dropping his gun in the process. Harry spots him and takes aim. Ray thinks he's too far away for a good shot, but Harry shoots him clean through the abdomen. Ray manages to get to shore, and flees, with Harry close behind. He makes it to the film set, where everyone is in costume. Ray stumbles across the set, while Harry closes in. Jimmy spots Ray, and comes to help. Ray sees Jimmy, just as Harry shoots him from behind. Ray crawls over to where Jimmy has fallen, and Harry sees what he has done. Ray tries to tell Harry about Jimmy, but Harry says you have to stick to your principles, puts his gun in his mouth, and fires. As Ray is being carried away on a stretcher, he decides that if he lives, he'll go and visit the mother of the boy he killed. He'll admit what he did, and ask the boy's mother to choose his punishment. He says no matter what his punishment ends up being, at least he won't be in Bruges. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It really helps the channel out. For more videos, subscribe, and turn on notifications.